My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Aries. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot, and for this week, I'm going to be doing your general reading, your past, present, future, 9 card spread. I'm going to be using the regular tarot to clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw vampire oracle, and finish off with 3 yes or no answers for thee. So let's get started with your reading. Ooh, the general card is the Ten of Pentacles, upright, abundance, happy home, happy earth, happy family, or even confidence. So let's look at the first card, which is also your past. You start off with the Six of Swords, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini energy. Page of Swords, air placements, and then you get the Two of Cups reversed, water placements, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Okay, you know what I'm kind of getting here? Is you pretty much, walked away from, some kind of partnership. You pretty much just already had this idea of thinking, I'm just going to walk away, or I'm just going to take a different direction, or I'm just going to head out. Maybe this was probably some kind of job transition. Maybe, it's like you probably switch careers, or maybe, you're actually, having a, just maybe some kind of holiday, or you're actually relocating to a different city, state, or country in other ways as well, because this is definitely about some form of movement. And especially with the Two of Cups reversed, it could also be, how you're kind of taking a leap of faith, because normally with the Two of Cups upright, it's like your senses and intuition, partnership, some kind of relationship is pretty much active and because it's straight up and stuff like that. But since it came in reverse, it's kind of giving me like the opposite. Like maybe, your senses and intuition are a little bit clouded, maybe shaded and stuff like that. So I feel like that, this could even have been like some kind of, leap of faith, or some kind of like, some kind of, definitely some kind of risk that you're taking. Maybe you are definitely, switching careers or what have you in other ways as well, because, the general card is definitely about having abundance. So, but anyway, we'll move over to current times. Okay, you start off with Two of Pentacles upright. Ooh, Three of Swords, one of the cards I pulled for the vampire. And then you get the Ten of Wands upright, hard work. I'm sensing regret in current times. I feel like that maybe, it's like you either, took a leap of faith and you pretty much just thought, well, actually, it's like, but what you were probably thinking and pondering and feeling and realizing and stuff like that, will pretty much kind of cause some form of heartbreak in other ways, and it resulted in that you feel burdened or hard work. Because here you are actually, starting off managing everything quite nicely. You're balancing, your affairs, your obligations, your responsibilities. But then you suddenly get hit with a heartbreak moment and you feel burdened because of this hard work in other ways as well. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, but that's kind of like the leap of faith kind of, like idea, is that you just don't know what to expect. So that's why I always feel like that, learned opportunities, or, any kind of like experiences for that matter, are way more beneficial in other ways than missed opportunities. But it feels like that maybe, in current times you kind of have this sense of regret. Or you could also have, more fire placements, maybe, more Aries, some Leo or Sagittarius or Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo placements as well. But I kind of feel like that, sometimes, when you pretty much, like aim for the stars, or, shoot for the stars, whatever it is, how that phrase goes. The point is, sometimes, you have this beautiful idea saying, oh yeah, if we're going to, we'll pursue this beautiful risk-taking endeavor and stuff like that, then it's going to turn into this wild, dream, right? But then, you don't realize, the part of what if, well, what if it's like this? What if it's like that and stuff like that? And that's why, this popular saying is expect the unexpected and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, if you're about to take any kind of, risk and stuff like that, it's always good to kind of cover, all kinds of ideas and thoughts to say, well, what happens if it's like this? What happens if it's like that, right? Because when we get to your future, you get the Eight of Wands reversed, fire placements, the Moon reverse, Pisces energy, and then you get the King of Pentacles, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo placements. You know what I'm kind of getting here, especially when it comes to the future? It doesn't mean that there's going to be no movement, there's going to be no journeys, and you're just going to be practically, feeling imbalanced, and you're going to lose, all of your, riches and stuff like that, even though you're working incredibly hard in current times. You know, I mostly kind of get here, especially for like the future part, is that it's mostly what we fear or what we desire in other ways. Because if you desire, having 10 of Pentacles, happy, I'm happy, earth, happy, family, and abundance, and then suddenly you're worried because you get hit with the Three of Swords, which is quite painful. Trust me, I drew that card for the vampire. But then you pretty much, realize that, oh my goodness, there's going to be no escape route, there's going to be no movement and stuff like that. But it could also be how in current times, how the Ten of Wands is pretty much, the end goal. So you don't have to head off towards any kind of voyages and stuff like that. And maybe you're just going to live a basic salary in other ways. But anyway, I want to do some clarification. Because for the Six of Swords, you get 10 of Swords, right? So you obviously suffered some kind of painful ending, or maybe, you were heading off towards, some kind of painful ending as well. So this is definitely kind of giving me the Fool kind of, vibe, the risk, the leap of faith in other ways, where you're pretty much just thinking, okay, we're just going to take off, we're going to try something, nothing, ventured is nothing gained. So the thing is this is, actually a very impressive step that you've actually taken in other ways. Because the thing is not many humans, they actually have that courage within them to actually, proceed with such a task or some kind of voyage and journey that you were definitely heading down towards in the past, or with any kind of idea when you pretty much. But I was just thinking, the other day, it's like how the human was also telling me about his, fears and uncertainties and stuff like that. Personally, it's always good to kind of face your fears and kind of just think, okay, because otherwise, the fears are just going to be swimming around your mind, and then it's going to create this, scary and more aggressive, picture in your mind of thinking, oh goodness, it's like if I don't do this and that and that and that happens, and then you're pretty much just kind of, in your own personal whirlwind of just thinking, oh goodness, it's all just practically game over for me, but according to who and what and where and why and how. So. But that's kind of, what I'm getting is that, it's always good to kind of proceed with something. Because for the Page of Swords, you get the second Page of Swords, Daughter of Swords. So obviously, it's like maybe you did some kind of like maybe sacrifice. Maybe you had to kind of shed what wasn't benefiting you. But here, even in the past, you still had this drive within you. This desire to want to get out into this world, to head out into, say, okay, it's like the fact is that when there's movement and stuff that, any kind of movement, it usually means that something is definitely working, right? It's like, if blood is flowing through the human body, it means that the body is functioning. If there's any kind of like setbacks or bumps in the road, that does need to be looked at. But that's what I kind of see here for you, is that, maybe there's a bit of a sacrifice, but here you do have this drive within you. Because for the Two of Cups reverse, maybe there was kind of like a, some kind of, breakage of some kind of like contract, or maybe, it's like some kind of relationship or what have you. Well, you get the Three of Cups. So maybe, it's like this, this sacrifice is practically like a blessing in disguise kind of moment. And that's kind of the thing. Is, it's like sometimes, when you pretty much, head out towards something and you just have this fear within yourself, you're practically at the start of your journey, you've, taken that one step over the threshold, and then you're pretty much just thinking, oh goodness, the first thing I feel like wanting to do is run back into my home or what have you in other ways, because I just don't think I can handle this. But here I feel like that this is actually a very beautiful silver lining, situation, but this could also be, comfort and support from your family, even though it's not like the Three of Pentacles, it is the Three of Cups. So there was something, worth acknowledging still on a positive level. So, for Two of Pentacles, well, okay, you get Death. Okay, the second card I pulled for the Vampire, the only card that's missing is Lovers. So I see you actually transitioning into this new beautiful phase in your current times, because that's kind of the thing, is when you overcome something, when you actually take the first step, that's practically the first phase of the transition. It's like, if a vampire, bites its humans and stuff like that, or other things and stuff like that, that's kind of already the first step of the transition. It's first, you bite, you suck, you drain, and then, pretty much, I don't know, but what happened afterwards, all I know is that I pretty much just collapsed. So I don't know if I was fed any of his blood or any other ways, but anyway, that's all I more or less just know, is that was more or less kind of the start of my personal transition as well. So I feel like that maybe you do have to kind of, keep at it, keep managing your responsibilities, your affairs, your obligations, your goals, and eventually, you'll Yep, yeah, probably, start heading more, towards your, your goal in the end. Because for Three of Swords, yes, you could have, or you could be suffering from some kind of heartbreak, maybe some kind of regret, but you do get Temperance, one of your brother, sister, fire signs of Sagittarius. So what I'm kind of getting here is, you may be suffering, maybe, it's like this rebirthing is kind of causing you to, start, suffering within yourself in other ways where you kind of, start, suffering from, self-doubt, lack of clarity, what have you in other ways. But sometimes, these situations, are usually, have a silver lining behind it. Because the thing is if you have to kind of, enter into this new mindset, or maybe you have to change, perceptions or something, a change is usually very beneficial in many ways, but it could also be so hard, to even, embrace in other ways as well. Because it's like if you have to kind of, when you enter into any kind of situation and you have to start thinking or feeling differently, or you have to kind of, when you will be closed off in other ways, sometimes that could actually cause one to feel, heartbroken in other ways, to think, why am I even doing this in the first place? And that is, I've actually come across a couple of humans that have actually, struggled in other ways, having to embrace this new, identity kind of, mindset and stuff like that. So, but anyway. Because here, you could be struggling with hard work, feeling burdened, and then you get hit with the Five of Pentacles. So what I feel like is that maybe, I hope you weren't hoodwinked or somehow, swindled in other ways where, you pretty much, had to embrace this new, identity, this new, this new area of yours, this new job, career, stuff like that. So now suddenly you feel like that you're working incredibly hard, and yet you get hit with like the Five of Pentacles. But be rest assured, the thing is, it's like Five of Pentacles is considered poverty, but it's still, it is, still, like, not as bad as if, the Ten of Pentacles was in reverse for that matter. That would be a way, a bigger problem in other ways. But here, I just actually think, this is what you could also already start, be experiencing. Maybe, it's like, your job market isn't going so well or other ways, but yeah, I mean, but we'll have to continue because I'm starting to feel a little bit worried. Though here with the Eight of Wands reversed, there's no movement or traveling, but then you get the Empress. So this could actually be a very beautiful turnaround, coming up soon in your future, because maybe, it's like, yeah, there's definitely, no movement taking place. And so normally, that'd be, something, like, some kind of, concerning idea to think, well, yeah, there's no kind of movement or development and stuff like that. What does that mean? It usually means that, there's a bit of a setback, right? Well, maybe, you don't even have to head out. Maybe you don't even have to witness any kind of movement. Maybe you don't have to do anything. And then suddenly you get presented with this very beautiful new beginning, this idea, what have you, in other ways as well. And so here's the Empress of new beginnings, fertility, and abundance waiting for you in your future. So maybe there's a bit of a price to pay. Maybe there's a bit of a sacrifice in other ways. Because here, it's like you feel like that there's no movement or no journeys taking place, but yet you get the Two of Wands. So here I feel like that you're actually creating, this new journey and voyage for yourself coming up real soon, which I think is so impressive. Because the thing is as long as you keep at it, as long as you just don't give up, as long as you just keep, witnessing and observing movement and stuff like that, that is pretty much just going to actually open more opportunities and stuff like that. Because sometimes you do have to take some detours. Sometimes maybe you do need to have some form of patience in other ways where you just think, okay, this is just a temporary setback, especially with the Eight of Wands in reverse, or maybe even with the Five of Pentacles. But sometimes you just have to kind of weather the metaphorical storm, and eventually, the metaphorical sun will shine for you. Because if the moon is down, well, the sun is normally up, right? Because even though you just pretty much just think, oh goodness, I feel either out of my element, feel imbalanced, or maybe this is a big price that you could be paying and stuff like that. But then you get the Lord of Scepters, King of Wands. So actually you already get Leo and Sagittarius energy. So I feel like that, okay, you're remaining strong and confident. So let's say that you're actually, looking for a new job. Maybe you're in a job transition. Maybe you're switching careers and stuff like that. But then you still haven't found anything, as similar as to your previous job or career. But I just feel like as long as you just keep at it and stuff like that, and try to remain as confident and strong. But the thing is it's, Yeah, I know it's easier said than done on so many ways. But I just think, it's like he will try to, yeah, just, will remain as strong and confident, even, during any kind of rebirthings and transitions. I mean, trust me, it takes a lot out of anybody to be experiencing transitions. So, anyway, your special vampire card. Page of Swords, the third page of Swords. So I just see this adventure. I just see you pretty much getting out into this world. I see movement. I see development. Maybe you do have Aquarius, Libra, or Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini able placements in your star chart. But here, I just feel like that you just have this real desire, and the fact is that you're just not giving up, and nor should you, because whatever worth having doesn't always come easy. And the fact is as long as there's any kind of movement, whether you're pretty much in a in a job position, even though this is what you probably want to have, and then in current times you actually get stuck with the Five of Pentacles of maybe having to do like some odd job in other ways where you actually don't get paid as much. But as long as you do have some, well, maybe even just the basic salary or what have you, then it could pretty much open up more doors of opportunities for abundance in the future. So, and then Oracle wants to say knowledge, study, learning, and education. So the thing is what I'm seeing here is that, it's very good to keep, like educating yourself. Maybe you do have to go through like experience paths of like maybe, what's that term called? Unpaid work in other ways, but here you are pretty much gaining so much experience. So actually this is a very, very beautiful silver lining reading for my beautiful Aries, including myself, because sometimes you do actually have to do maybe some volunteer work, or maybe some community service, or maybe just some free services, so you can actually open up more doors of opportunity for future, right? Because if this is what you're hoping to get in the future, I do see confidence, especially with the King of Wands in the end, but especially this could also be, like the Ten of Pentacles in the future as well. So, anyway, I'm going to finish off with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause this video and think about the questions you want answered. For number 1, you get a yes with the Ace of Swords. Whoops. For number 2, you get a no with the Page of Cups reversed. And then you actually get a yes for number 3 with the Hanged Man upright. Okay, my beautiful Aries, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now, but if this reading resonated for Aries or Aries placements out in this world, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me in this fabulous evening. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days I'm going back to love readings, so for now I'm just doing general and love, but I'm also open for personal readings. All you have to do is just even look at this project page web link for personal readings if you're ever interested in them, and let me know in the comments section below that you're interested in a personal reading, and I'll respond to you with my email. But other than that, I love you guys incredibly and want to wish you all the best of this beautiful journey of yours. And as per usual, take excellent good care of yourselves.